News Talk 560 KLVI, my home answer man for a Saturday. Always a pleasure to have our next guest with us because when you're talking roofing, you are talking SETX Roofing. Steve Pike with us today. And how you doing?
Man, I am doing great, Jim. Thanks for having me on. Good morning, Southeast Texas.
And I will tell you, when it comes to roofing, you are obviously the expert, your company the expert. In fact, to think of you guys as you're the premium, you're the top of the line.
I think so. And I think our name says it all. SETX, it's where we work. Roofing, it's what we do. And pros, how we do it.
We're professional Texas guys.
That's right. And we cover from Orange to Livingston and from Baytown to the lake.
And I'll tell you, that's one of those things that's important for folks to know is just the area you cover. You're available anywhere in Southeast Texas. And again, skilled at the repairs, replacement. You can do metal roofs also. But most importantly, I guess, to start with is I may not know the condition of my roof. So first thing, I need to call you and have you take a look at my roof.
Yeah, if you call 409-240-2611, you can set your appointment right then, and we can come out and do a free, no obligation inspection. We're going to take photos of your property. We're going to look at the condition of your roof. We're going to look at the windows and the siding and the fascia and the soffit and all of the different things and let you know that, yes, you're either in good shape or, yeah, you've got these problems. Here's what we recommend. And if you want to move forward, then you do. Otherwise, we can give you a photo report that you can use in the future if everything's good. And let's say we have a storm come in, but we haven't had one in a little while. This last year, we didn't have a storm in the Gulf and we didn't have any hailstorms. So if a insurance adjuster comes after the next storm and says, yeah, this is old damage, it's not covered, you can go, no, we just had a report done. And here's the time and date that the report was done, and this damage did not exist.
Yeah, I think that's an important point again, Steve Pike, SETX Roofing. Some folks will come out and take a look at your roof. You don't take a look at the roof. You do a thorough inspection of the roof, then give me a time-stamped photo report of that roof. So this is valuable information. It's not just somebody came out and looked at it. This is a professional opinion and professionally documented.
That's correct. And if you think about when you're buying or selling a home, you have home inspectors, right? And you pay those guys anywhere from $500 to $1,500, right? And they give you this report that meets all of the state real estate guidelines. They're a little bit more in depth, but those inspectors are not professional roofers, electricians, HVAC licensed folks. When you have a professional roofer come out and give you that opinion with a photo report that's on our letterhead, that our name is, our reputation is at stake, and we're doing that for free.
And that's what's amazing to me, that you do it for free, because you're right. In the past, I've certainly had home inspectors on the show and a valuable service. They're the first to tell me that when they look at some aspect of that home, if it doesn't look quite right to them, the first thing they tell the homeowner is, I'm not an expert in this field. Now we need to get an expert in that field, whether it be foundation, roofing, HVAC. You are the experts in roofing.
That's right. We're the experts in roofing, and we also do siding and windows and all of those things. So we can look at the structure of your home holistically and let you know if there's ventilation problems. We're going to ask you if we can get in your attic and take photos from inside the attic so that we know how far the rafter spacing is, so that we can see about how many nail holes are in the decking. Because over time, if you've had 2 or 3 roofs on your house, the next time you get a roof, you might need to have the roof redecked, because the standard is we have to have a nailable surface. So if we don't look at that on the front end, then we get big surprises on the back end, and nobody likes that.
Nobody is wanting a surprise. And I think that's also one of the things that I love about SETX Roofing Pros is that you, again, are doing that thorough inspection. If I do need a roof or repair, You're doing a thorough analysis of what I need to minimize those surprises. I think we've all been in a situation with some home repair where you're halfway through it, and the next thing you know, the guy says, I'm so sorry, but I've just discovered. You're going to do everything possible to prevent those surprises.
Yes. And that's the whole purpose of us doing the thorough inspection is we would rather tell you that your job is $3,000 more than any other bid that you got. But we're not coming back to you on after the job is done and going, oh, we missed it.
That is, I've had friends with roofing and other things around home repairs. They go for whatever the cheapest, lowest bid is. And then, of course, they come back and they add this and they add that. And before you know it, they have paid more than the professional bid, the real professionals that gave the original bid.
We see that a lot too. And one of the things that I had a mentor tell me many years ago was, Steve, if you're going to be the guy that has to do everything on the cheap, you're probably going to pay double.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And so that adjusted my perspective whenever I call a service provider. I'm not looking for the lowest bid. I'm looking for the most thorough bid with the best products, the best service. And I'm going to say that there's not a contractor in Southeast Texas that provides the level of service and the level of education that we provide our customers.
And that doesn't always mean that you're the most expensive.
Yeah.
You just may not be the cheapest. Again, I'm looking at the quality of work and the service you provide. It's amazing to me sometimes when people maybe don't do their due diligence in selecting a roofer, how they can pay a lot of money for very little roof.
That's right. And if somebody comes in with a bid, let's say you get 3 bids and 2 of them are pretty close, right? And they're on the higher end. The one on the lower end is the one you select. What did they leave off? What are they not going to do that's going to impact the quality of the roof that's going to be protecting you and your family and your home or your business? And so, yeah, we can do it cheaper. I can go stop at Home Depot tomorrow morning and pick up some guys I've never met before, and we can do it cheaper. I promise. But that's not our model.
And that's not quality.
It's not quality, and there's a lot of unknowns there.
And we're going to talk about, coming up, we're going to talk about the warranties you offer and said you also can't offer the kind of protection you offer. You give such peace of mind to folks. You offer that by quality work and quality materials. You can't go to Home Depot and pick up a couple of guys and then say, I'm going to give the warranties you folks give. In fact, it's almost unheard of in roofing in Southeast Texas to have the kind of peace of mind and protection you offer. News Talk 560, KLVI. We're talking with Steve Pike, SETX Roofing Pros. Before we break, how do people reach you?
Go to setxroofingpros.com or 409-240-2611, and you can set an appointment. It'll take you about 2.5 minutes to run through it and set up an appointment.
Back after this. News Talk 560, KLVI, Jim Love, my home answer man for a Saturday. As always, you can hear the show on the air, AM 560 KLVI, or online anywhere in the world with the iHeartRadio app, absolutely free download. And we're talking today with Steve Pike, SETX Roofing Pros. Yes, right here in Southeast Texas. Yes, Texans. Yes, professionals. Yes to all of the above. In our last segment, we were talking about a little about the quality and what you ought to look for in a bid and how extensive your roof inspection is. Now, if you find I have some problems, if I have some problems and we start talking about what you can do for me, maybe a repair, maybe a complete roofing job, what that's going to entail, my first question, or one of my first questions to you is probably going to be, this is quite an investment. What kind of warranty? What kind of guarantees? What do I get?
That's a great question, and it's not very tricky either, right? It's really pretty straightforward. So on all of our roof repairs, we give a 1-year warranty.
Okay.
1-year warranty on a roof repair.
That's pretty straightforward.
That's pretty straightforward, right? 1-year warranty. And so as we're looking at your roof, if we don't believe that we can repair it and warranty it, then we will not give you a bid for a repair. If the roof is what we call non-repairable, granule loss is too bad. As we manipulate the shingles to replace the ones that are bad, if we're going to damage the adjacent shingles because of their age and condition, then we're not willing to do a repair for you around this vent pipe as an example. And then 3 months from now, you have a leak on an adjacent shingle. You're going to think it's our problem. Or you're going to think it's our warranty. And what it is it's your roof, right?
This roof was just not repairable.
It was just not repairable. Okay. So that's why we do the photo report. We could show you the condition. You don't have to trust anything. A pair of lips will say anything they say.
It's a good point.
A photo is worth 1,000 words, right? So we show you the photos of the areas where you have problems, and we show you why it can or can't be repaired. Then if it can't be repaired, so now we get into our full roof replacements, and we offer a lifetime labor warranty on all full replacements. So what does that mean? And so if we mess up on the install, we're on the hook for it. It's a craftsmanship guarantee.
Guaranteeing that you know what you're doing.
We have installed it properly.
Yes.
And so what that doesn't cover is it doesn't cover any debris that hits on the roof. Let's say you've got a bunch of trees and you've got a valley that is collecting leaves, and it's been 3 years since we did your roof, and we get up there and we find that there's a 10-inch deep leaf collection there, and that's where your leak is. That's not because of the labor was defective. And so that's our labor. And let's say a windstorm or a hailstorm comes in and damages something. That's also not a labor defect. Another thing that we find in Beaumont, in some areas of Beaumont, is we found bullets lodged in shingles. Wow. That's not a warranty problem.
That is not a warranty problem. Suffice to say, your workmanship, the craftsmanship of your laborers is going to be warranted. And if they make a mistake, you're on the hook for it.
Yes.
If it's an act of nature or otherwise, then I'm going to be only on the hook for it, which makes sense. You'd have the same thing in a purchase of an automobile or any other thing you install in the home.
That's right. But here's where our warranties really take off and separate us from anybody else. And we have a Cat 5 promise. And the Cat 5 promise, you guys live in Southeast Texas. You know what a Cat 5 is.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one of those big old hurricanes, right?
That's the big blow.
The Cat 5 promise is a wind-proven roof that has no maximum wind speed. And for the first 15, that's 15 years, if you have a wind event that displaces or damages shingles on your roof, you are not calling your insurance company and paying your deductible. You are calling us, and we're working with the manufacturer to get that covered under warranty, and the manufacturer will cover 100% of the labor and materials.
So it doesn't cost me anything.
It doesn't cost you anything.
And boy, you just said something key there also for any of us in Southeast Texas that have ever had some damage and called the insurance company. You not only face a deductible, you face other issues at renewal time, you face other issues at premium time. If I had a way that I could cover some damage and not involve the insurance company and have no out-of-pocket expenses. Wow.
It makes sense to me.
I don't know why it wouldn't make sense to everyone.
And that is our premium, that is our flagship warranty. And then just recently, we just got the marketing information from GAF, the UHDZ shingle. Not only, most of you may have heard of it as something that is just beautiful. It's got these great shadow lines. It makes the curb appeal and your roof just pop. They have added the classification for it to be a class 4 impact resistant shingle. So not only can you make your house look like the most beautiful roof on your street, Now you can have a class 4 hail resistant, impact resistant roof that is just, it's absolute. So it gives you that extra step of protection. Now there's not a specific impact warranty. So if we did get a hailstorm and it was big enough to actually create damage to the shingle, then it would be an insurable loss. But there are some insurance carriers that do give discounts for class 4 shingles. But I caution you, when they give the discount, they don't just give the discount, they remove something. They
Okay.
remove coverage and they begin to call things cosmetic damage.
Okay.
So, there, be careful if you're going to try and get the discount on your insurance premium for hail with a hail resistant shingle. But it is going to give you, it's thicker. The fiberglass mat is done differently. I don't have all of the technical specs in my mind right now, but the way that it resists hail,
It's just tougher.
it's
Tougher in bed.
it's tougher. It is Texas tough, right? So you get the Cat 5 warranty, and if you upgraded to the UHDZ shingle, then now you've got a wind-proven roof and a hail-resistant roof.
And a beautiful roof.
And it's absolutely gorgeous.
Because that's one of the things, and we've talked about this before, for most of us growing up in Texas and such, you hardly saw the roof with the design of the homes of 50 years ago, 30 years ago. But now, our homes of today, when you talk about the beauty of a roof, the roof has become a integral part of that home's beauty with these slopes. We have the very steep sloped roofs. And so that shingle, in fact, in many cases, you're seeing almost as much shingle as you are the rest of the home when you drive up. So you want something that's really beautiful.
They have become a design feature
Yes.
of a house. And as you mentioned, those steep slopes, the closer to straight up and down you get, the more you can see them. And the UHDZ shingle and the Timberline HDZ shingle both have shadow lines that are designed to mimic the visual cues of an old time wood shake roof.
Wow.
That's the purpose, right? So that it looks like it's 3/8 of an inch thick or a 1/2 inch thick cedar shake, which used to be very popular.
So it adds real beauty.
It adds real beauty and the curb appeal. So if you're thinking about selling your house and you're thinking about, man, roof's starting to age, they're probably going to beat me up on it, now would be a great time to call us at 409-240-2611 and set up an appointment. Let us come out and give you a bid to see what it will take to do that.
We'll talk some more when you come back, but also, how can I find you online?
SETX roofingpros.com.
All right. I know you have some videos, you have all sorts of information about some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah, you can catch us on all of the socials, Facebook, Instagram. We even started TikTok recently. There's not a whole lot of stuff up there yet, but we're going to be putting more and more things. But there's some time-lapse videos. There's our Operation Overwatch veteran that received a free roof just before Christmas. In
that
25.
that was such a great thing. You got to check it, Brett. Ken will be right back. News Talk 560, the KLVI. News Talk 560, KLVI. We are talking with Steve Pike from SETX Roofing, the roofing pros in Southeast Texas. And we're talking about what you need to know about your roof. And I will tell you, Steve, the truth of the matter is, I suspect most of us don't really know much of anything about our roof, and that can really not serve us well when we have a problem.
We get that a lot. So we spend a lot of time in education. We want to educate you about why your roof does what it's supposed to do, how it does what it's supposed to do, what the ventilation should be, how the shingles should look when they're in good shape. You'll have a lot of questions, and maybe you helped your grandpa put on a roof in 1987. That's great. A lot of things have changed since 1987.
I can truthfully say I did help my dad re-roof the house, and it was a small house. And again, with that small pitch or we were talking about earlier. And I just remember doing a lot of hammering and nailing. I don't know, they were not in the house too much longer after we did that. And I pity the person who bought it because the nails only go so far, I suspect, and you're supposed to do all sorts of things that we didn't do. And today it is a much different world. One of the reasons it's a much different world, and this would be a flag for anybody, I assume, is that I have to have, we were in the country and such, and yeah, this was years and years ago. I would have to have a permit. I have to have inspections. I have to do a number of things today to ensure that the job is being done right.
That's correct. So what happens is in coastal counties, if you have windstorm insurance, then you need what's called a WPI 8 certificate. And that certificate is done by an independent engineer that comes out and makes sure that we have met all of the state guidelines. So a coastal county is Chambers and Jefferson in our market.
Okay.
But you're thinking, what about Orange? Orange
Yeah,
County.
I was just thinking that.
So Jefferson County separates. There's a little sliver of Jefferson County over by Sabine Lake
Okay.
before you get to the state line that is between Jefferson County or the ocean and Orange County. So Orange County is not a coastal county
Interesting.
officially.
Officially.
So what we do to combat that is we install every roof as if it's on the beach.
Okay.
Non-corrosive fasteners, 6 nails, hand nailed in every shingle. Some of your contractors they'll do 4 nails per shingle. And let's say you live in Woodville or by the lake. The wind doesn't know to stop blowing at Pine Island Bayou
That's a good point.
or the Natchez River
Oops, I'm at a boundary.
or it's Sabine Lake, right? So you get the wind coming in. It is still awfully high winds. So if your roof is not installed to those standards, so that I don't want my installers to have to think about what county they're in. I just want them to do the same job over and over again. And is that a little more expensive? Yeah, probably, because it's worth it. The peace of mind that you were talking about earlier is where things really come into play for me. And having peace of mind, knowing that our customers are going to have the highest quality craftsmanship and the installation is going to be done to the strictest standards. That's important to me.
And you make a good point also. Humorous, but it's very true. And the wind is not going to suddenly stop at Interstate 10 or stop at a county line. So by doing these standards, I am protected. It's good for the crew. They do it one way. It's good for me because I'm getting maximum protection wherever I'm located.
Yeah. And my family used to evacuate for hurricanes to the Lufkin area. I've got a lot of family there. And so but a few storms ago, they're in the heart of the piney woods, man. The wind did not stop blowing by the time it got to Lufkin, and those pine trees were just bending and whipping in the wind. And there was roof damage from those hurricanes. So when that happens, you need to know that your roof was installed at the strictest standards, that you have the 6 nails per shingle, that you have the non-corrosive fasteners, that you have all of the components that are going to keep the water out of your house. And as we're talking about that, we're the only contractor in Southeast Texas, in the Beaumont area, that is Fortified certified. And Fortified Roofing is part of the IBHS, the Insurance Building Home Standards. And its primary objective is a roof is, from an insurance company's perspective, a roof is not the most expensive thing. What's expensive is all of your belongings, all of your interior damage. So a $15,000 roof replacement with $75,000 worth of contents damaged is a big deal. So if you use the Fortified system, we double up the underlayment. We either tape the seams or double up the underlayment. We have to re-nail all of the plywood. at 4-inch centers on the nails. We have to use ring shank nails, and they have to be galvanized. And all of these different things that really waterproof your roof.
That are
And
going to ensure what's under that roof.
that's going to really protect what's under it. So
Gotcha.
the shingle is there to protect the underlayment, right, from UV, and it's supposed to shed water. But the waterproofing happens all the way down at the deck. So either the underlayment or in a fortified system with double layers of underlayment, or a taped seams. Everywhere that there's a seam on the plywood, there's a 6-inch wide tape that goes on there. So it's a pretty interesting process. And some insurance carriers are giving as much as a 40% discount on premiums.
Really?
So it might be something to call your insurance agent about and ask them if they give a fortified discount. If they do, then we're the only guys local that can provide that at this time.
I was just going to add that these are things you do. These are things SETX Roofing Pros can do.
That's right. And we have our Cat 5 promise. We have our UHDZ upgrade. We have the Fortified Roofing upgrade, but we also do what's called a Storm Safe Plus, where we remove a couple of the GAF system pieces and use generic to offset cost. And then we have our Windsure Standard that is a standard roof, and that gets you down to probably what most roofing contractors are coming in and telling you that they're going to sell you.
So you have obviously different levels of roofs, different prices for roofing. Now, one of the things that sometimes makes people think twice, they know they need it, but they can't afford it. They don't have that money in the bank. Can you help with that?
We sure can. And I'm glad you asked, because affordable payment options are so important. If somebody has roof damage and they can't afford it, or maybe it's an insurable loss and they don't have their deductible, we can get affordable monthly payments on that with all kinds of different terms, from 0% for up to 72 months to 7.9 for 3 years, or there's all
sorts of pricing payments available.
We want to make everything as painless as possible and give you all of the options. It's your money and your budget, right? We need to make it comfortable for you.
But of course, if you don't do that, I think we all realize what's going to happen is the damage continues, and what would have cost one amount could cost a lot more later. So it just makes sense. You have these affordable options to go ahead and take care of the roof. You're actually saving money by acting now.
Yeah, if you act now and call us at 409-240-2611 or visit us on the web at setxroofingpros.com, then you will get an appointment. We'll send somebody out. A roof is so much more than shingles and nails. It's not a commodity. Yeah, the components are, but the roof itself is a service item that if you don't have quality materials, quality craftsmanship, and a quality company that's standing behind every nail, built on values, driven by service, and Texas proud, SETX Roofing Pros is the company for you if you value those things. If you don't value them,
News Talk 560, KLVI, Jim Love, my home answer man for a Saturday. We thank you for joining us, and we're having a great time talking with Steve Pike, SETX Roofing. Boy, lots of roofing knowledge, and we're almost out of time here. Our last segment, we obviously always like to have you back to talk more, because not only about the things that you can do at SETX Roofing Pros, the professionals you are, the training, the Cat 5 warranty, all the things you offer, but just the education that you offer. I'm afraid I'm one of those, Steve, that thought about a roof as being some sort of underlayment to some shingles and some nails, and that's the roof. Since you have appeared on the show, I've learned more about ventilation, about all sorts of aspects that combined to make that roof more efficient and give you a longer life. If your roofer is not coming out and talking to you about those things when you're getting a bid, you need SETX Roofing Pros. There's no doubt about it. It's a lot of pieces that go into this puzzle.
There are a ton of pieces, and that's probably the hardest thing to get folks to understand. And it takes a lot of education. And when we present our different options that we have for your roof. Again, you're in charge of your budget. It's your money. We want you to get what you want, what you need, and what you can afford, right? So we try to cover all of those bases. And at the same time, we are committed to giving you the best service, the best quality, and the best components that you can get. And so as we do that, a roof is, again, more than shingles and nails, right? And there's no license in Texas for roofers. Surprisingly,
Really?
but there's no license.
Now, hold on. Don't tell me I could be a roofer tomorrow.
If you have a pickup truck, a ladder, and a hammer, you can call yourself a
And a
roofer.
magnetic sign.
Yeah, and a magnetic sign. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary. So I know I wouldn't hire me. But in all seriousness, then that really puts the burden on the consumer to ask questions, do the research, and be very careful in choosing the roofing company.
Yeah, and the national average is roofing contractors stay in business for 5 years or less. That's the national average. Within 5 years, your roofer is not going to be here. And especially we find that when it's storm season and we get a hailstorm and everybody that is out of work goes down to Home Depot and they buy them a hammer and a ladder and they start knocking on doors. And while I will say that somebody knocking on your door does not disqualify them, it's a common practice in the roofing business. And I'm sorry, but it is. And so as someone knocks on your doors, you need to be able to verify their insurance. You need to be able to, I like to use the term, and it's pretty popular, social proof. Get some social proof of who they are and where they work. Go look at their Facebook page. Go look at their Google reviews. Go look them up on Angie's List. Look them up on Yelp. All of these things, find out wherever it is that you go to research. You go and research those contractors and put in their name, put in their web address and do that research. And if somebody comes and knocks on your door or cold calls you or sends you something in the mail, go look them up.
You need to be able to verify they are who they say they are, but certainly I also want to verify the quality of their work. What are your suggestions for that?
So the suggestions for that are get as many reviews and references as you can.
Okay.
Find out where they've worked in your neighborhood.
Okay.
Find out, maybe they haven't done work in your specific, maybe Barrington Heights, maybe you haven't done a job there, but they've done work in Montclair, right?
Yeah.
You find out get those addresses and drive by those houses. A lot of our customers will tell us, yeah, if you want to have our address on a referral,
It's okay.
It's okay. Tell them to drive by. And you can see the quality of our work. Check Facebook, surprisingly, is a great place to get information because you can see photos of existing work. You can see photos of ongoing work. You can see historically what's happened. Are they ask for a certificate of insurance?
And that's an important point that I think a lot of folks miss because you say ask. Now, I'm going to ask you, are you insured? And you're going to tell me yes. I want to see the certificate.
Yes.
You've got to clarify.
Yeah. Ask them for a certificate of insurance. If they can't provide that for you, then, I would probably pass.
Let's face it, certainly I'm not a roofer and don't want to be one. I don't want to be on the roof. You do have to be skilled. There is some degree of a risk in that job. I definitely want to make sure that the company I'm dealing with is insured and all of the above in case something unfortunate happens.
Yeah, insured and bonded is really important, and getting proof of that. And like I said earlier, a pair of lips will tell you anything. Don't take my word for it. When one of my guys comes out to your property to give you an inspection, ask for a certificate of insurance. Do you want to be an additional insured? All right, I'll reach out to my insurance agent and get a certificate with your name on it. It's not a problem at all. So we provide that all the time. We're bonded in most all of the municipalities around here. If you're in a municipality that we haven't necessarily done work in, we'll go get bonded there.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
It's not an issue, not a problem.
It's not an issue. It's not a problem. It's just we haven't done a job there, and bonds are expensive.
More than willing to do it.
But more than happy to do it. In fact, I hope that we haven't done work in your area yet. And you call us and at 409-240-2611, you set up an appointment, go to SETXRoofingPros.com, fill out a form there, and you will get a text message immediately trying to set up your appointment.
That's one of the key points. We're almost out of time. That's one of the key points about SETX Roofing Pros. When it is all said and done, we know that you know what you're doing. You're honest, trustworthy. You're transparent.
We are transparent. I don't have anything to hide. And I've told more customers than I can count that my reputation is worth more than your roof job.
It makes sense.
And I would rather walk away from an opportunity and not do the work than take a chance on doing something that the customer is insisting that I do that doesn't meet our values. It's just not worth it to me.
That may or may not work later.
Yeah.
Your
Right.
reputation is more important than doing something that you know is substandard.
That's correct. And we really want to separate ourselves from anybody else in the region by providing that transparency, the honesty, the integrity, the professionalism, the character. We make mistakes, right? Here's one. I think I have time to tell this story. We were doing a job in Lumberton and we had to redeck the entire thing. So as we're redecking it and we're putting it back together, one of our guys stepped through the ceiling in the bedroom.
Oops.
We immediately took care of that. And we know that you can't just paint a 2 foot by 2 foot section on a
Right.
ceiling. We painted the entire ceiling. The texture matched perfectly, right? Anyway, we
Took
make
care of it.
mistakes and we take care of it, right? In fact, it's in one of our reviews, right? You can go to our Google review. It's a 5-star review because even though we made a mistake, we immediately rectified it and
Took care of it.
immediately took care of them.
Yeah. What more can you want?
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us today. Before you get out of here, we've got to once again remind folks, phone number, website, social media, how do they reach you?
So call 409-240-2611. That's 409-240-2611, SETXRoofingPros.com, or on all the socials /SETX Roofer.
And again, you'll call me. I get calls all the time asking, what was that guy's name? Steve Pike.
That's right.
SETX Roofing Pros. And if you don't remember, just give me a call. I'll make sure I get you in touch with Steve. News Talk 560, KLVI. Thank you for being with us. Fox News is coming up next.